I'm Dr Jodi Richardson, and you're listening to, well, hello anxiety, a podcast where we end the struggle with anxiety and build our toolkit of practical skills to thrive. Hello, welcome back. I'm inviting you today to join me to do an activity that, a little bit of a heads up, might seem a little bit morbid to start with. However, it is an activity that I have done. I spent a lot of time working on this when I did it for myself. It is an activity that I have shared with others, and people who do this find it can be a moment of profound change. Now, what's prompted me to record this episode are a couple of things. Number one, I read this year, a couple of months ago, I finished a book by Oliver Burkeman called 4,000 Weeks. And the book is essentially about the idea that the average person lives for approximately 4,000 weeks and that time is precious and let's use it wisely. Let's do the things we want to do. Let's stop putting them off. Let's stop waiting. But that's what anxiety does, doesn't it? It says, hold on a minute. Let's just maybe think about doing that tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes. Let's just maybe think about doing that next week because the feelings are uncomfortable and the thoughts bubble up. You can't, you'll fail, you shouldn't, what if? The what if questions, the catastrophic thinking, all the physical sensations that can make us feel so overwhelmed and uncomfortable that we just retreat to safety so that we don't have to experience that. The other thing about this book that's important to know is that if we were to print a chart that essentially had 4,000 weeks on it, 4,000 boxes essentially, and we colour in the ones that have passed, we might get a little bit of a shock as to what's left and where we're at in that 4,000 week journey. So I don't say this and I don't share this episode to cause gloom and doom. I do it because one of the greatest things that we can do for ourselves in our lives is to live by our values. And you will have heard me talk about that before. Sometimes I'll say it's about doing what's important. It's about doing what matters. Living by our values is making choices to move forward in the world each and every day, doing the things that are most important to us, even if it's not necessarily the easy route. And for me, I do this all the time. I'm putting myself out there. I'm doing this every week. This is the road less traveled by far, to record yourself and to put it out evergreen into the world for anybody to listen to and to pull apart, criticize, or, share feedback on. It's certainly not something that I have had a problem with, in fact, and that says so much about this absolutely beautiful community. But I do this because it's important to me to help and to do something to really make a difference for you and for the people you care about. And I'm driven by that value and I have a willingness to bring all my anxiety and my doubts with me. And so let's get on with this activity that I wanted to share with you. So what I'm asking you to do is I'm asking you to reflect on what somebody might say about you at your funeral. Yes, people, we are going there. This could be anything from a couple of sentences as an epitaph for your tombstone. This could be a couple of pages of a beautiful speech read by somebody at the service. It can be whatever you want it to be. But I want you to consider a few questions. Okay, I want you to consider a few questions. I want you to consider what would people say about you. Okay, you could maybe pick one person who might be speaking about you. What would they say about you? I remember when Pete's Nana passed away, and I remember Pete saying to me, she lived such a great life. I think it was really comforting for him to consider that she had lived a full life, and not everybody has the privilege of doing that. And that makes it especially hard, when there are challenges, health challenges or safety challenges in people's lives. Sometimes there are accidents that occur and people's lives are cut short in ways that are just absolutely devastating. And I've been to more funerals than I would like to have been to at my age of 48. But today is about us focusing on ourselves and about thinking about what somebody would say about us at our funeral with a view to that revealing for us what we care about. Okay, so this is just a lens for you to look at your own life through. And it's a really beautiful thing to be able to go, right, well, what would I love for people to say about me? What would I love for people to say about me when I am no longer around? Even better, you could make this all about your 90th birthday and you are there to hear every single word, every single word. How would the person that you've chosen to read about you, how would they describe your life? Okay, what would they say? How would they describe the way that you spent your time? Yeah. What would they say you were passionate about? What was something you really dedicated time to? Is it a hobby? Was it your work? Was it a cause? Was it your family? What is it that they would say you were passionate about? And lastly, what would they say you stood for? What did you stand for? So these are just a handful of questions for you to consider, just a handful. And as I have in the past, I do urge you to take some notes. Clarifying our values can be done in so many different ways. You could simply print or save the paper and look at a list of values online. Find a large selection of values to choose from and simply write down the ones that appeal to you, that feel like values you want to live by. One of my strongest values is kindness. It makes me feel amazing to do kind things for other people. That sounds selfish, doesn't it? But I love to do kind things for people because I love for people to know that they are special to me. And so sometimes if I get a little moment, I might pick up my phone and send a text just to check in on someone, just to see how they're doing, let them know that I'm thinking about them. And so when we live in alignment with our values, we are most fulfilled. Honestly, we are. I could pick up my phone in those moments and scroll on Facebook or Instagram, and sometimes I do that too. But when we are living with our values in mind and taking steps to live by what matters most to us, that's where we are most fulfilled in our lives. And that's where we do the things that we have on our hearts to do in the 4,000 weeks that we have. And so, a very short episode today, an invitation to you to reflect on those questions, take those notes, and consider what all of these answers say about what matters to you in your life. And a little side note, sometimes when we identify what's important to us, sometimes we can come to the realization that perhaps the way we've been spending our time is not necessarily in alignment with what is important to us. And I'm here to say to you that that happens a lot. That's very normal and it's uncomfortable. It's painful to come to that recognition. It is. However, in coming to that recognition, your eyes are open. You're aware that there is a different way that you could be moving forward. There are different steps that you could be taking. And I'd never ask you to just dive right in. Step forward with one step. Move in the direction of something that's important to you. It could be as small as picking up your phone and sending a text. It could be simply about sharing a smile with a stranger if kindness is something that's important to you too. It could be about really being present in the moment with the next beautiful person in your life that you get to spend time with. All right, so I really want to acknowledge that it can be difficult, it can be painful when we identify that perhaps what is important to us isn't the way we're living. But I also want you to recognize that that is a signpost, that is an opportunity, and is something that you now have the knowledge to do something about. And so I thank you for being with me here on the podcast. I know that I'm challenging you. I know that I'm asking you to think about things that are going to be uncomfortable, but all feelings are important. Many feelings that we have are signposts telling us something about ourselves or about a situation. It's important that we tune in. And if this has raised uncomfortable feelings for you, and you would really like to talk to someone, please reach out. Please look at the helplines that are available. Please reach out to your GP if you're concerned about your mental health. Here in Australia, we have Beyond Blue, we have Lifeline 13, 11, 14. We have our local doctors in other countries where listeners are listening in. Please jump online and have a look for a local or national even helpline if you feel like you could benefit from having a conversation with someone to really support you in your mental health and to get any support that you might need. Thank you again. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. All the best with this. I hope that you are able to really reveal some things about yourself and it opens your eyes and opens opportunities for you to be able to move forward and grab a hold of those 4,000 weeks in a way that brings you to your 90th birthday with people saying the things about you that are the most important. I hope that this has really helped to steer you in that direction. Thank you again for spending some time with me, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and leave a review. To keep the conversation going, I'd love you to join me over on Instagram. You'll find me at Dr Jodi Richardson. Also, if you'd like a copy of my free 5-day mini email course, Calm Your Anxious Brain, then jump over to my website, drjodirichardson.com, and you can sign up down the bottom. I've really enjoyed having your company. Thanks so much. See you next time.